Today we are building a white-themed PC inside the stunning Jonsbo TK-1 panoramic case. For this build, we'll be using the ASUS Prime Z890 Plus Wi-Fi CSM motherboard, paired with a powerful Intel Core Ultra 7 265K processor. Storage is handled by the ultra-fast Crucial P510 SSD, while memory comes from two 16GB Kingston Fury sticks. Powering the system is the Cooler Master Gold 750 power supply unit. Cooling and airflow will be handled by two Jonsbo ZB-240 ARGB fans, featuring both standard and reverse blade configurations. We are using the white Jonsbo CB40 CPU cooler to match the build's aesthetic. In this video, we'll go through the complete PC assembly process, including component installation, cable management, airflow setup, RGB lighting, and the very first power on. Here we have the Jonsbo TK-1, a panoramic-style chassis with curved tempered glass that gives the build a really clean showcase appearance. Straight away out of the box, the design looks premium and minimalistic, especially with the dual glass panels wrapping around the front corner of the case. The white finish on this model looks fantastic, and it's going to pair perfectly with the rest of the components in this build. Inside the packaging, everything is well protected, and Jonsbo includes the mounting hardware, accessories, and the internal layout already feels very builder-friendly. One of the nicest things about the TK-1 is the open display style design, which makes it perfect for RGB builds and clean cable management. Here we have the box of screws and accessories that come included with the TK-1 case. We'll start by opening the top panel by pressing down and sliding the plate backwards to release it. There are two screws on each side that secure the curved glass panel to the case. Once removed, carefully lift the glass slightly upward and out of the case. Now we will remove the back panel to gain access for installing the power supply unit, and to help with cable management inside the computer case. Lift the panel slightly upward and out to remove it. Let's unbox the power supply unit and install it into the case first. The full model details and specifications for all parts are listed in the description below. This Cooler Master MWE power supply unit is a non-modular PSU, but all of the cables will be hidden behind the case anyway, so cable visibility won't be an issue. Next, we'll remove the power supply mounting plate from the case and attach the power supply unit to it. Once done, we will reattach everything back into the case. We will tidy up the PSU cables, but throughout the build we'll continue managing and cleaning up the cables as we go to ensure a clean and tidy finish. Now, let's unbox the motherboard and take a look at what's included. I've decided to go with the Intel Core Ultra 7 265K, as a dedicated GPU isn't required for this build. As this box doesn't come with a CPU cooler, I will be using the Jonsbo CB40 CPU cooler. Place the CPU as flat and level as possible to avoid bending any pins on the motherboard socket. This cooler is compatible with a range of CPU sockets, including AMD, but in this build we will only be using the components required for this Intel LGA1851 CPU. There is a small plastic slider on the base plate that needs to be adjusted for the LGA1851 socket. This adjustment must be done on all four sides to ensure proper fit and correct mounting alignment. The base plate is installed on the back of the motherboard. It comes with two small adhesive strips, which you peel and then position the plate vertically against the rear of the motherboard. The adhesive is only there to temporarily hold the base plate in place while you flip the board over, allowing you to securely install the metal mounting brackets from the front side. Now we will screw in these metal brackets, which will then allow us to mount and secure the heatsink on top. Now we'll apply the thermal compound that comes included with the cooler. This is an important step as it helps ensure proper heat transfer between the CPU and the heatsink. A small even amount is applied directly onto the CPU before mounting the cooler, allowing it to spread evenly when the heatsink is installed and tightened. Next, we are going to install the fans. It's important to note that although these boxes look very similar, the model numbers are slightly different, ZB-240 and ZB-240R. The R stands for reverse airflow, and these will be installed at the bottom of the case to draw air upward into the system from underneath. Note that while I installed a reverse fan at this stage of the video, I ended up removing it later after installing the motherboard, as it made it more difficult to access and connect the motherboard cables. It's probably best to leave the bottom fan installation until after the motherboard is in place. The standard ZB-240 fans will be installed at the top of the case, where they will act as exhaust fans, drawing hot air out of the system and expelling it from the top to maintain good airflow and cooling efficiency. In order to run the CPU power cable through, I had to remove the drive bay to make access easier. It was at this point in the build that I realized I needed to remove the bottom fans to run the audio and front panel switch cables through. The cables at the back look a bit messy at the moment, but as we continue with the build, we will tidy them up for a cleaner finish. That is the audio connector cable being fitted now. And this is the front panel socket being fitted now. This is the front USB-C socket. I am putting back the bottom fan now. It was at this point that I realized the motherboard didn't come with an SSD heatsink. As a result, I ended up purchasing the Jonsbo Aluminium M.2 SSD heatsink to ensure proper cooling for the SSD and maintain consistent performance under load. The Jonsbo SSD heatsink came with 2 white thermal silicone pads and 2 grey ones. The white pads are slightly thicker than the grey ones. I ended up using one of each to ensure the heatsink top could be fitted properly. Remember to remove the plastic film covering the thermal silicone pads before installation. Now we are going to install the fan onto the CPU heatsink. This fan has 3 connectors. One ARGB connector that goes to the motherboard, one power connector, and a third connector that links to the LED lights on top of the CPU heatsink. This is the connector for the LED lights on top of the heatsink. There is a slit in the heatsink designed for the cable to sit in so it doesn't get pinched by the fan. Slide it into place. Now use the metal spring clips to secure the fan into place. I am now connecting the power and ARGB connectors for the CPU, which are conveniently located near the CPU at the top right of the motherboard. Don't forget to remove all the plastic coverings from the fans. Now we are going to install the RAM sticks. Ensure they are inserted into the correct slots on the motherboard. Refer to the motherboard documentation to confirm the proper configuration. On this motherboard, since we are only using 2 RAM sticks, they go into the grey slots. Now we are almost finished. I'm going to connect the top and bottom fans to the power and ARGB headers, and tidy up the cables wherever possible for a clean and organized finish. I am now putting the drive bay back into place. Time to fire up the PC. I haven't closed the side panels yet, in case I need to make any final adjustments. I've connected the power, HDMI cable, wireless keyboard, and mouse, and inserted a bootable Windows USB drive, ready for installation. Once post finishes, the PC will boot from the USB thumb drive to begin installing Windows. Since everything looks good, I'm now closing up the side panels. I have installed Armoury Crate, which is an ASUS proprietary software that can, among other things, control the ARGB lighting through the AuraSync tab shown here, as demonstrated. I have already installed all the relevant drivers for this motherboard, which can be found on the ASUS website. Now we will open Device Manager to check which devices are being detected. Hope you've enjoyed watching this video. Subscribe for more.